I feel bad for new anime fans. If this was released today, good luck to the localizer. They would probably be lazy and just change all the jokes, because you can't make sense of a lot of this stuff. It's so referential. This is where they try to make you understand the joke rather than just replace it. This is what's being lost by localizing. I did realize, especially after my last video on, they want to erase Japanese humor, I did realize that I think I probably leaned too much in on the word localizing, because I think the term localizing for a lot of people sort of excuses heavy-handedness. I guess is the best way to put it. I think the term localizing excuses heavy-handedness, because I don't think anime really falls in the same realms as other things when it comes to localizing. The excuse is that, well, a localizer's job is to change the humor to make it fit with the culture it's going into. My whole perspective is, if you're bringing over a comedy, what is the point of replacing all the jokes with new jokes just because we won't get it? You might as well write it. You might as well write a new book. So I think I think it sort of works in the realm of something like a shonen. Who cares if they just throw in a random joke that's quickly understandable and makes sense, because they don't want the viewer to get confused before they move on to the next boom boom. But when the show is like, I should have done this when I made this video. Some people know where I'm going with this. When it comes to comedies, context matters. The first time I watched Zetsuba Sensei, it was a fan translation. And back then, well, I don't want to exaggerate here, but back then, this top of the screen was constantly translator notes. Or very brief flashes on the screen, translate note. This entire series is references. There ain't a split second wasted. This is, by the way, for those who don't know, this is like early Shaft. This is where you got the Shaft tilt from. This is where you got the Shaft look from. That's from here. Everything that Monogatari did, this is where it started. Like, this is where Shaft really, I think, for me, became Shaft. Now, you give this to it. This is where I was talking about in my video. I feel bad for new anime fans. If this was released today, good luck to the localizer. They would be having a heyday with this thing, because nothing would make sense. Here's why I think they're being lazy. And again, this is where I think the whole localizing thing is an excuse. If a modern day, and this is like a lot of stuff that I'm going to get into with my video that I wanted to do. If a modern day localizer had access to this, they would probably be lazy and just change all the jokes, because you can't make sense of a lot of this stuff. It's so referential. And why I know that is, one, because I watched it. And guess what? Fan translators that weren't getting paid, fan translators explained pretty much all of it. Not all of it. There's some of the stuff that I don't think they probably tried. Random Joe Schmoes, random unpaid people explained everything. It wasn't that difficult. For some reason, localizers, they think we're stupid and we can't figure it out. I think in a lot of cases, they may not even get the jokes themselves. I'm convinced in some cases, localizers don't even know what the joke is. They don't know how to explain it, so they make a new joke. I miss you, Nozomi Entertainment. This is Nozomi Entertainment's release of Zetsuba Sensei. These are all of those translator notes, all of those references redone by Nozomi Entertainment. They went through every single second of every single episode. You can't localize this. You can't localize humor, because that's the joke. These are the jokes. This is what people used to translator note. This is where they try to make you understand the joke rather than just replace it. This is what's being lost by localizing, erasing Japanese humor. They don't want to... I'm growing more and more convinced they just don't want to explain stuff anymore. They just want to replace it and move on. Just make a Slay Queen joke, move on. Granted, I don't expect them to explain that one. That's a really stupid joke to explain. For those who don't know, with Gacha level 99, it was like they just shortened the good job. One said Sasuga, one said Sasu. It's just a shortening. They could have easily just had her say, good job, and then awesome. Like, it didn't have to put Slay Queen in there. But I'm talking about, like, complex jokes. Like, I don't expect everything to be explainable, but I kind of just hope that they at least try sometimes. Keep some context. The localizers' role, as they say, is to take a medium from one country, not just translate, but to make it culturally relevant to a different culture, and to make the humor make sense to that culture. Easy reference. You bring Pokemon over, and they have rice balls. They change it to donuts because a kid's going to understand what a donut is. They're not going to understand what a rice ball is. That's a very simple localizing method. The problem is that, one, people go to anime, and anime has become so popular because people love anime and Japanese culture as a medium. But I understand that technically the majority audience, the biggest consuming and money-making element of anime right now is shonens. But yet, the people that have always been around love everything else. And that's, I think, where they need to be more careful with that choice of localizing and changing things, because that audience is hardcore for anime and Japan culture. But at its core, the biggest problem with localizing and erasing that humor and not translator noting it or leaving it be there so we can figure it out ourselves is that if you're going to just replace the jokes, specifically speaking about jokes, if you're going to replace the jokes anyways, what's the point in bringing the medium over? If you brought that over now and you just replaced all those references in there with just like, instead of the chalkboard saying this big reference that they have an entire book here explaining, if you just replace the text on the screen with just, Billy was here. Billy was here. Remember that joke back when we were like, 2 years old and we used to write Bob was here on the tree in our schoolyard? Oh yeah, I remember that. We could just replace that. You could put Stussy. You could write Stussy on the chalkboard. Oh, I remember Stussy. Put Pog on the wall. They could easily just replace it. But again, what's the point? Like, who's the author anymore? I know the authors don't really care because they're not involved. They don't really, once it leaves them in Japan, they don't really care what happens to stuff, unfortunately. But what's the point in having the author's name on here anymore? It's not wrote by them anymore. It's wrote by the localizer. The localizer's making the jokes. Now you can all tell why it's taken so long for me to make this video. Like I sit here and just like think about a million things I want to talk about, and I never finish it. Instead, I just blab about it in my live streams. So the live stream viewers get pretty much like bits and pieces of my jokes and my thoughts on things. Here's the original manga for Sayonara Zetsuba Sensei. Here's the author. If you were to localize this manga and you didn't want to translate the jokes because they don't make sense, and apparently the jokes aren't funny to anybody outside Japan, if you were to localize this manga and you just localized all the jokes to make sense to American audiences, is Koji Kumita even involved anymore? His art's there, I guess. So I guess you have his for art, but is story his anymore? It's not. It's somebody else's. So again, it goes back to the whole thing where I understand the idea of trying to make things make sense in the West, trying to make it make sense for an audience in the West. I get it. But I think that only really works for shows and stories that doesn't require much translation. It doesn't require much localizing. There's not much context there that's easily missed. When it comes to comedies, it's very hard to see a world where most of that stuff's not going to make sense unless somebody wants to take the time to understand it. And I think that's where the hardcore fans, they want to figure it out. They want to understand it. Unfortunately, I see that most viewers of anime don't even care. They don't even realize it. That's the sad reality, and that's, I think, the localizers are being hired for. Is the majority of people that just don't even know it's being changed. They think the jokes that are in there is actually what's supposed to be in there. You watching May I ask for one last thing? And she says, "Can I punch this beach?" They think the original writing said that, and they laugh. So that's the sad reality. I get that there's sometimes referential stuff that just gets lost. Like they're specifically talking about like an old anime or an old TV show where this one-liner happens, and unless you know what that one-liner is, you're not gonna understand. Again, Zetsuba Sensei has a ton of it. There's times where it literally, unless you knew what that show was they were talking about, you're not gonna know what they're talking about. Right there, this little shot right here with this guy at the PC monitor right here. Dad on his forehead. Kitty's father has a kanji for dad written on his forehead. This is a reference to the main character in a famous 1979 manga, Kinnikuman, Uncle, the Ultimate Muscle, who has the kanji of muscle on his forehead. Again, it can get changed. Or you can just leave that in there for somebody to figure it out. And I mean, to be fair, when was this? When was Zetsuba Sensei? It's a 1970 reference, 79 reference. This was released in 2007. I'm pretty damn sure most people that watched Zetsuba Sensei didn't even know what the hell that references was. So again, you could erase it or you could just figure it out. Just leave it in there and let us figure it out. I love that discovery. Again, I used to love looking at those translator notes. Putting in Twitch chat, Sling also dates the anime. In a few years, no cap. That was my whole point there. Is literally that's going to be completely outdated within no time at all. There's no point in it. And then you have the problem with the fact that they put Spanish in their stuff too. Apparently, localizers that are localizing it for English will, for some reason, put Spanish in there. So now you have to literally look up what the Spanish word means because they decide to put Spanish in there, or they decide to put French in there, and I don't know what the hell the French means. So now that I'm reading English subtitles, and I have to look at what the French word is to find the English word. I have to translate for the translator. Dude, it ticks me off every time I see the freaking Spanish. I want to actually have an example here where I have a bad dubs. A bad translation folder. Where's it at? I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. Oh my god, I hate it so much. Oh, here's that one that we talked about a minute ago. See, did you hear that? Sasuga Nazuna. Sasunazu. Anybody, if you're just listening what they're saying, you can easily hear they're just saying a shorter version of it. But Slay Queen. Do I have the dub version of it?
You slay, Queen! It's such a relief to have you.
It hurts. It hurts.
Such admirable work ethic. You slay, Queen!
The delivery just sucks too. Like the delivery is so like weak too. You slay, Queen. Like it's not even delivered well. You slay, Queen. And it's funny because that character is like so much more like muted. Like she's such a lackadaisical. Stop. This is torture. It's so like they don't even try. They're not even. Now, again, the voice actor probably has no clue what the hell the character is supposed to be. Yeah, here's an example. I mean, C is pretty easy to figure out. I think most people know what C means in Spanish, but it's still like, why is the English subtitles saying C? Oh, I love this one. This was a fun one. A surprisingly feminine take or feminist take. I love that one. Oh, here's another Spanish one. I think this is Spanish. Yeah, hasta la vista. And again, another one that probably most people don't know what it is, but still. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Found it.
No cap. Yeah.
No cap. No cap. No crap. Oh, here's Fish Daddy. I love my Fish Daddy.
See you back here tonight.
Oh, ready to get weird in some ancient ruins?
You know it, Fish Daddy.
Fish Daddy.
Ancient ruins?
You know it, Fish Daddy.
What is a Fish Daddy? Oh, here's a classic. Here's a classic. Did I just start mansplaining fashion to a little pro model? Oh, here's the proof that they dubbed that scene.
That's very feminist.
That's very feminist.
Very feminist. That's very...
It, like, literally, the context of this has nothing to do with him being a feminist, by the way.
That's very feminist.
And my last one. Here's my last one. My last one in my folder. ChatGPT said. Oh, I'm so glad I captured that. That's a classic. Best subtitling ever, ChatGPT said. Oh, that was a great day. For those who don't know, what happened here is like people found this is German, right? Or is German, right? They found, yeah, unexpected German. They found this in the German subtitles. ChatGPT said, not only that, but like every language was borked. And the translations did not match what was happening in the scene. They were obviously wrong. Like they had this one scene where there's a live stream happening and they're talking about this YouTuber, live streamer, and how many followers they have. And the subtitle was not correct at all. You could tell without even knowing what the hell they were saying. At the end of every episode too is the credit for the translator was blank on most of them. Like it said translator, but it didn't say who it was. So it was almost like they were all templates of the same person. Like this was like an oddity. Like whatever happened here was weird. Sorry, I got sidetracked. I appreciate you guys for dropping in. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I made you guys super upset before we all close out here with all my bad subtitle examples that I've put together over the last couple of years. I hope to do that video eventually though. I have a lot to say, and you guys I've only scratched the surface on it. My thoughts on localizing and translating, but eventually I'll put that video together.